Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the We Were Athletes Once podcast. My name is Kyle, and I am joined, as always, by Cody.
Hello.
And as I want to give you guys a little peek behind the curtain right now, we are recording this after the Sunday night game, and that was one of the most wild games I've
Insane.
ever seen.
Absolutely insane.
I still have no clue how the Ravens managed to lose that game. But
Spoiler.
yeah, spoiler. Sorry. Hopefully you watched the games if you are watching this. Maybe you didn't. If you're not, welcome to the channel. We appreciate you watching. Um, but this week of NFL football, like this opening week, is one of the better opening weeks I think I've seen in a while. There were a lot of games that are going to end up meaning something later on in the year, and a lot of them were really good games. Um, we have a lot of teams that we think are either going to be playoff teams or fighting for the playoffs to talk about. And like I said, most of the games, at least that we're going to be talking about, were one score games.
Yeah, there was a lot of good games, and outside of I don't know two, it was a very low scoring week in football. So some people want to see a lot of action, but I think as long as it's a close game, you're getting to see something all the way down to the wire. It makes it fun. So it was exciting to watch some of these games, especially this Sunday night one. Like I've got a busted up knee and I got up jumping around and hurting myself more because I thought it was absolutely insane what was happening.
Yeah, and my fantasy teams could tell this was a low scoring week in the NFL.
Yes, they
Um,
could.
So basically, how we are going to be going about this is, and this is how most of our during the season NFL shows are going to go. We are going to talk about the primetime games that happened. So we're going to talk about Thursday night. There was a Friday night game this week and Sunday night. And then we are also going to be talking about the best games that happened that are actually, we think, are going to mean something that happened throughout the day on Sunday. And then we will also be talking about the upcoming Monday night game. Um, so, we're starting out, pretty hot with the defending Super Bowl champions. Um, they played the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday, and the Eagles end up winning that game, but it was a lot closer than I think a lot of us expected it to be.
Anyone.
The final score was 24-20. There were the first 10 minutes of that game was absolute madness. I mean, there was a major injury on the first play of the game.
Whoa, 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 whoa. We got to go back even before that.
Oh, sorry.
Jalen Carter was thrown out of this game before it even
No,
began.
I'm talking about on the kickoff.
Oh, okay.
On the opening kickoff, I believe I hadn't even started watching the game at that point, but I believe on the opening kickoff there was a pretty serious injury that a player had to get carted off.
Yeah.
Then there was one play from scrimmage, I believe, before Dak Prescott and Jalen Carter got in a spitting match, and Jalen Carter gets ejected from the game. First play of the game, first play of the season, and because of that, they made Javante Williams look like prime Emmett Smith.
He had a good game. Stats don't look necessarily as good as it was for them. He only had like 60 yards or so, but he did have the two touchdowns and he looked good. Um, and it's only because Jalen Carter wasn't clogging up the middle of that field. Um, and I really think that's the only reason the Cowboys stood a chance in this game. I do think Jalen Carter is that good and that important of a player for that Philadelphia defense that can just shut down a run game, and not having him was absolutely critical to this game. And honestly, I know we'll get to it, but honestly, the Cowboys should have won this game.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats, Javonte Williams had 54 yards on 15 carries with those two touchdowns. Miles Sanders came in.
Had a big run.
He had 53 yards on four carries.
He also had a fumble though.
Yeah, that's true. He did. But between all of the rushers in this game for the Cowboys, they combined for 119 yards. CeeDee Lamb had a big game. He had 7 for 110, but he also had quite a few crucial drops towards the end of the game.
And it 100% is his fault they did not win that game.
Yeah. And I hate to say that whenever a guy goes off like that, but this is not the only game that we're going to be saying this,
No,
like saying something along these
not at
lines.
all.
Um, yeah, but honestly, I think the Cowboys played a lot better than anyone. I guess, like I said, anyone was expecting to. They went the entire game threatening the defending Super Bowl champions without Micah Parsons. You know, again, the Eagles not having one of their best the defensive players on the field for the entire game was rough. But I would, even though it's not going to count as a win in the record book for the Cowboys, I would count this game as a win,
Yeah,
a
because
moral win.
yeah, moral win. Yeah, because this is definitely a team. Last episode we both picked them to finish last in that division. Um, this is a team that we thought maybe Dak and that offense could do a little bit of something. Who knows what that running game is going to do? We didn't think very highly of it. It impressed me more than what I thought it could do. But we thought this defense was going to be rough, and it held its own against the Super Bowl champions. Saquon only had about 60 yards. Now, if Dallas could learn how to put a spy out there so that Jalen Hurts couldn't just run all over them, that would have been great. And maybe they win that game also, but they didn't. Um, but overall, like it was a very well defensively played game for the most part, outside of not spying Jalen Hurts. He had under 200 passing yards, like 150 passing yards, and between Saquon getting 60 and Hurts getting 60, like they did a good job. They contained a Super Bowl champions. Like I was impressed with Dallas. I'm gonna give them their props because I didn't think much of them this season.
Cody, do you think this is something that the Cowboys may be able to build off of and maybe surprise a few people?
I don't know. It's week one. Um, you've always got like that little extra adrenaline for that opening week, and on top of that, you're playing the Super Bowl champions and a bitter rival. So I'm going to take everything with a little grain of salt because, you know, as a Kansas City fan, I watched the Raiders suck for years and years and years, and no matter how bad they were, they always played a great game against us. So I think there's a little bit of that going on, but I think they're going to be better than most people thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be better than we thought they were going to be. Especially, we said they were fourth. The Giants' offense did not look good today.
They looked horrendous.
So maybe we didn't give the Cowboys as much credit as we should have in that aspect.
Or maybe
Or
we
we
gave the
gave the
Giants
Giants
too
too much
much.
credit.
Yeah. I
But
didn't think Russ was going to suck as bad as he did. I still like their defense though, so we'll see.
yeah, we might
Maybe
be
maybe
seeing.
maybe they put in the greatest, most fun quarterback of all time, and he just starts slinging the ball everywhere, and they can let Malik Neighbors just fly around the field. And you know, I'm good with 30 for 30.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might be seeing a new quarterback next week. I'm still hoping it's not Jackson Dart because
I
I
am.
swear to you, they will ruin Jackson Dart. Um, it's
He
best
looked
to just
great.
it's best to just if you're not going to win anything, just throw Jameis out there,
Let's
and
go,
at
crab
least
leg.
at least it will be fun as everything is burning down. Um,
I love Jameis.
as for the Eagles, and by the way, the Cowboys are playing the Giants next week, so that could be
A fourth place matchup.
it could be a fourth place matchup. I was going to say it could be that first win, and now you're coming off of a 4-point loss to the defending Super Bowl champions that again you should have won, and following that up with a game that's very winnable. So, it could be something. There's a lot of Cowboys fans that have been upset with some of our takes on them that we know, and some of them that agree with them. But, you know, I'm nowhere close to saying this is the Cowboys' year, but it could be better than we thought. I think it will be if they can continue to play like they did on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think
Um,
there were some good things, there were some bad things. I think teams around the league watched that game and went, Philly's beatable. I think they learned, don't throw at Quinyon Mitchell, don't throw at Cooper DeJean, light up a Dory Jackson's world because he looked awful. Like if they've got a weak spot and he's on an island with somebody, I'm throwing at him all day.
yeah, I think that's a mistake. I think if teams are looking at this saying Philadelphia is beatable, I think that's a mistake. I think they came out pretty flat,
They
but
did.
at the end of the day, this is basically the same team that it was last year. So I think the Eagles will be fine. I still think they're going to be winning this division pretty easily. They're going to be at least fighting for a first round bye, if not easily getting it. And I think this is still a team that you have to worry about deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, I picked them to win the Super Bowl, to win the NFC, to be the one seed going in, and just because they came out flat one game, I'm not changing that.
Yeah, but I it definitely wasn't what we expected. So
I
this
hope for their sake it was a wake up call.
yeah. And I think it will be. I think they're a very well coached team, no matter how much I don't like Nick Sirianni. Uh,
I'm not giving him that much credit.
okay, I will I
I
will
don't like
for
Sirianni.
both of us.
No, don't do it for me.
But Cody, we have to move on to another team that is a very well coached team that I would like to not give them a whole lot of credit for right now. The Chiefs and the Chargers. They played this game on Friday night,
Stupid time to
and
play a game.
it is. Thank Brazil for that.
No.
Um, Brazil and Week One. The Chargers won this game 27-21, which is already something that I don't think we expected. Um, but we obviously talk a lot about football off camera, and my opinion on why the Chiefs lost this game.
Run the ball. Yes, I know.
Run the freaking ball. And I understand you have Patrick Mahomes. I understand you have your bread and butter has been your passing game. Travis Kelsey looks old, and he, yes, Travis Kelsey looked old in this game. And
I
you
thought
are,
he played a good game.
he played a good fourth quarter. He was held catchless, I believe, or had one catch through the first two and a half quarters. Uh, I don't know. I think his numbers ended up fine, but he kind of looked old. Um, and you're already without your number one wide receiver because he is suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Then, very early on in the game, you
Three
lose
plays.
3 plays in the game. You lose another one of your starting receivers in Xavier Worthy because he ran into Travis Kelsey because he didn't run the right route. Uh, I don't understand why you let Patrick Mahomes go 2 for 7 for 18 yards in the first quarter and put yourself down so quickly. When you have Isaiah Pacheco, you have Kareem Hunt, you have Brashard Smith, even. Like, these guys are capable of running the football. And you have an O line that is capable of opening up some holes for them in the run game. I don't understand why you are going so heavily on the pass game when at this point the only real threat you have as a receiver is Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, I think part of that starts with the slow start that they had. Um, you tried to run the ball the first couple of drives and were 3-and-out on both of them, and you're down 14-0 early. Um, and this game looked like it was starting to get a little out of hand. So you're trying to put the ball in Pat's hand to get something going, and to give him a spark. And I think it worked for the most part. But you're getting later into the game, second half. You know, you were even at halftime or right there. Um, I think coming out of the half, you needed to establish that ground game, and they didn't do it then. And I thought that was the biggest mistake. I'm okay with how they ran that first half, playing catch up mode in order to get there. But then coming out of the half, fresh, completely new ball game, you got to establish the run. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I just looked at the numbers. Pacheco and Hunt only had 5 carries each. That's just unacceptable.
Yeah, and Pacheco averaged 5 yards per carry. Like, it's not like he had played a bad game. He had, I think, one carry in the first two drives combined or something along those lines, maybe two carries, and he ended up with 6 yards or so, or he averaged three-ish yards a carry. But then he started to get something going. And Isaiah, I understand why you don't want to completely lean on Isaiah Pacheco right now because he got injured so early on in the season last year, and he's so aggressive when he runs that you don't want to lose this guy. But there's a big difference between being conservative with him and flat out not using him. Patrick Mahomes had 6 carries for 57 yards, and he was the leading rusher in both of those stats. That is unacceptable, especially when they like these DBs and these linebackers want to hit Patrick Mahomes. And they want to even more when he does that bull crap that you saw
Off
late in
the
the game
shoulder.
when the DB was just letting him go out of bounds and he decided to put a shoulder right in his chest because he knew he wasn't going to hit him. And so he decided to take a cheap shot. It's stuff like that that makes stuff like that. And obviously, it's Patrick Mahomes. This is the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. You want to hit this guy if you're a defender. You need to protect him at all cost. And even if that means giving Isaiah Pacheco 10 carries, 12 carries, God forbid, 15 carries. Like, I don't think that's a huge workload, especially when you have Kareem Hunt there, who Kareem Hunt didn't play a good game. He had his moments. He had a couple big fourth down pickups, I
Yeah.
believe. Uh, believe he was fine in the receiving game, but 5 carries for 16 yards. Like, he's a short yardage back at this point. Um, but
Yeah, he had a good.
you gotta let Isaiah Pacheco play at least a little bit, because I would argue not playing Isaiah Pacheco or playing him to that little extent or only giving him 5 carries, I think that might have a higher chance at hurting him more than giving him carries just because of how aggressive he runs.
Yeah. And this is one you really needed to get because, like we said, you're without your best receiver for 5 more weeks, and um, now your second best receiver is out indefinitely. Says he's going to try and wear a brace and play. I've dislocated my shoulder. That's something that's hard to do when you're trying to catch a ball, land on it, get hit. I think he's going to be out a few weeks. So you really needed to get that one, and then you don't have a soft schedule coming up. So this is a Chiefs team. I look at what's coming up, if they don't figure some stuff out, they don't start utilizing the run game a little bit more, there's a very real chance they start 0-3.
Yeah, and I do want to bring it over to the Chargers because on one hand, we are ripping the Chiefs for a lot of their decision making in this game. The Chargers played a really good game. They couldn't get a whole lot going in the run game. Amarion Hampton had 15 carries for 48 yards. He made a couple rookie mistakes.
Can't
Uh,
run out of bounds.
yeah, we only saw Najee Harris with 2 touches all game for 10 total yards.
More than the eyes that he has.
But Justin Herbert balled out. He went
Justin Herbert's a stud.
25 34 for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. Didn't turn the ball over. He had 7 carries on the ground for 32 yards. He picked up that big first down to ice the game. And you look at the receivers, and you expect big games from Ladd McConkey. You expect big games from Keenan Allen. The top receiver in this game, 5 catches for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns for Quentin Johnston.
When did the dude learn how to catch a ball?
It had to have been since the preseason because he made a couple pretty bad drops during the preseason.
They put extra stickum on them gloves or something because he caught everything. I've never seen the dude catch more than like 2 passes without a drop.
If if Quentin Johnston can catch some balls and Ladd McConkey continues to have games that we know he's capable of, and Keenan Allen continues to have games that he has
Big
had
Keenan
for
Allen.
the past decade, and looks like Justin Herbert looked kind of lost the past year or two. And it's because there wasn't a whole lot he was working with in that offense, especially when Mike Williams left and when Keenan Allen left. Those were 2 big targets that he had. If you can have this level of success from your receiving core, you have two veteran tight ends that you can rely on with Tyler Conklin and Will Dissly. Aranda Gadsden was a healthy scratch, but I do think he will have a big role at some point this season. That's another big receiving threat, and you have Amarion Hampton who will figure out the NFL game. The Chargers, I I I know I had them in the playoffs. I believe. Did you have them or did you have them
No,
just?
I had them last team out, but now I'm feeling stupid about that.
Yeah, this could be a really good year for the Chargers.
Did you mention Trey Harris as a receiving option as well?
I don't think I did.
Rookie Trey Harris only got 1 target, 1 catch, 11 yards, but he's somebody that absolutely going through this season as he gets a little more experience and a little more game time. I think he could be the 1-2 with McConkey. Like he is good out of Ole Miss. So that's just another weapon for him. Now, with all of that, I do think we have to look at Kansas City's defense because that was something that I was the least worried about going into this season. Um, and they look soft in the secondary. Uh, like some of these catches, they weren't contestant. There was no corner near these wide receivers. They were playing the softest zone I've ever seen and letting guys just sit in space. So that secondary needs to figure some stuff out because it was bad.
Cody, do you want 30 seconds or so to complain about Jawan Taylor?
Yes, I would love some. Juwan Taylor should not be touching the field ever again in a Kansas City Chief uniform. If I hear another false start and holding call on him, holding, false start, 74. We all know what's coming beforehand because the dude blows. All he
We
knows
watched
how
the
to
game
do,
together and we were calling it. Like
all
every
he
time there was a
does
flag,
is
most of the
take
time we
penalties.
said holding 74 or
He
false start
had to have
74 and
had
it was.
50 yards of penalties himself. Like, it is absolutely insane. You signed Jalen Moore to be your left tackle before you drafted Josh Simmons and figured out that, oh my gosh, this kid is a stud. We're going to play him at left tackle. Put Jawan Taylor on the bench and put Jalen Moore at right tackle because this is absolutely unacceptable. Drives are dying, and this is part of the running problem, is because you can't run the ball on first and second down when it's already first and 20 because Juwan Taylor can't not jump off sides or hold somebody. Now, I will give him one credit. When he doesn't do those things, he's actually pretty good at not letting players get to Mahomes. The problem is, 50% of the time, he's taking a stupid penalty. End of rant.
Yeah, I said before we got on here, when we were still watching the Sunday night game, I love Jawan Taylor just because of how fun it is to watch all my friends around me whenever he gets a flag called on him. Um, Most of my friends, including Cody, are Chiefs fans. I am not. And so I
One of
just
our friends is
enjoy.
a Rams fan and doesn't even like watching Juwan Taylor play, even though he wants the Chiefs to lose and rub it in our faces. He's like,
Uh,
this is not fun to watch. No, it's not, and all of your friends hate him. Chiefs,
it kind of
do
is.
something.
I enjoy Jawan Taylor, and it's it's tough when you say put him on the bench because you are paying him. He signed a 4-year, $80 million deal with $60 million guaranteed. I think that $60 million guaranteed is kind of why you are going to have at least one more year of him. He
Hey,
is under contract for two
how
more years.
much, how much did they pay Patrick Mahomes?
A lot.
How about we don't kill him?
That's a fair idea.
When he's running around for his life because he needs to make a play because it's third and 32 because Juwan Taylor takes 17 holding calls, I don't care how much money he makes, put him on the freaking bench so that we can run the dang ball, as you said.
Yeah, I think if you're not playing him, you got to cut him.
Bye.
But
Bye. I'll pack
um,
his bags.
I think that I think that will happen. I just think that will happen
It'll
after this.
happen next year.
Yeah.
They won't eat 2 years of that contract, but they'll eat a year of it.
Yeah. Especially because after this year, basically the guaranteed money is kind of null and void at this point. Like I said, he it's 60 million guaranteed, so you're kind of still paying him what you planned on
Hey,
paying him.
do the Packers need a right tackle?
I mean, Zach Tom did get hurt today, so but
I
not
can
Jawan Taylor.
offer you a number 74.
No, thank you.
I'll probably give you a few holding penalties.
Speaking of the Packers, we're not there yet, but this is kind of Packers adjacent. This next game, um,
Packers adjacent.
the the Steelers and the Jets played today,
Oh, it is Packers adjacent. That's fair.
and Aaron Rodgers, both during the game and after the game, reminded me why I'm not a butthurt Packers fan, and I still love Aaron Rodgers. Um,
Do you have the clip? Can we play it?
can you pull it up? I don't. Um, as Cody is trying to do that, Aaron Rodgers today, 41 years old, I believe. He's going to turn 42 later in the year. Uh, End up going 22 of 30, 244 yards, and he threw 4 touchdowns. He threw 4 touchdowns against this Jets team that he played for last year. And, the clip that Cody's pulling up, here we go.
You spoke about the meeting with Aaron Glenn on McAfee a few months ago. Beating him, is there significance in that since he basically told you to your face that he didn't think you were right for that team?
Yes, that's what he did.
So there's significance in beating him for you?
I was happy to beat everybody associated with the Jets.
He's so like
He's a
spiteful.
robot.
But that's the thing about Aaron Rodgers is he gets spiteful and that's when he plays his best football. I'm old enough to remember when he won back-to-back MVPs in 2020 and 2021, the first 2
Long
years
ago.
after the first 2 years after they drafted Jordan Love in the first round. Like he thrives off of this stuff. It's like, "Oh, you want to say I'm washed? Let me put on my best performance in 2 years."
You know
Um,
who else put on their best performance in 2 years? Justin Fields.
It's been more than 2 years.
Yeah, it's probably ever.
His best performance since college.
But this was a shockingly really good game. It had everything you wanted. It had offense. It had action all the way up until the end. Um, Two guys that played for the other team last year going at it against their old teams with something to prove. This was just a fun game to watch, and it kind of took me by surprise because I thought it was going to be a low scoring, boring run fest of crap. And it was anything but that.
Yeah, Justin Fields, the numbers aren't necessarily some that will jump off the screen. 16 of 22 for 218 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Hmm.
Had 12 carries for 48 yards. Thank you, Woody Johnson, from all Brees Hall fantasy owners, to get a head coach in here that knows, oh, maybe we should run the ball with Brees Hall because Brees and give him an O line because Brees Hall is kind of good. 19 carries for 107 yards today. End up with 145 total yards when you include his receiving yards. Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson combined for Garrett Wilson had 7 catches for 95 yards. That is a duo from their days in college, and it seems like they haven't missed a beat.
I would
And
like to see Braylon Allen get some more touches, though.
no, not allowed. They can keep with this read option stuff with Justin Fields and Brees Hall, and they can both run for 1,000 yards this year.
My only concern with all of this is if you look at the pass spread, one, the receiving names here are just awful. Um, but outside of Garrett Wilson, 7 targets, Brees Hall had 2, Tyler Johnson had 2. So that's 2 running backs with 4 of your receptions. And then Mason Taylor, rookie tight end, got 1, Josh Reynolds 2, and Jeremy Ruckert 2. Like
Tyler
that's
Johnson's a receiver.
yeah, but that's a little concerning that you've got 7 targets to your top receiver, and then everything else outside of like 2 is to tight ends and running backs. Like I know that's what probably fits Justin Fields the best, but if you want to win some games, you're gonna have to push the ball down the field at some point. And I'm not positive in any way that Justin Fields is capable of doing that. I feel like he's just going to throw short little dink and dumps, or he's going to throw some balls up to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this Jets team. And that's been an issue that they've had for throughout Aaron Rodgers' time there is outside of Garrett Wilson, they don't really have a lot at receiver. Like I know Aaron wanted to bring in all of his buddies and thought that that was a Super Bowl team whenever he was there. But if you look at their depth chart, they have Garrett Wilson, but outside of that, Josh Reynolds and Tyler Johnson are their other 2 starting receivers. They have Xavier Gibson, who, he's a return man who also fumbled today and is one of the reasons why they lost the game. You have Arian Smith. Alan Lazard is on the team, but he's not good. He's a great downfield blocker, and I think that's a really important job to have for a receiver, and he is one of the best at it.
But you
But
also need to be able to catch the ball.
you also need to be able to catch the ball from someone that isn't Aaron Rodgers, and he can hardly catch a ball that's thrown by Aaron Rodgers. Um, I I question what this necessarily means for the Jets. I think there is some form of a formula here that could lead to a lot of success for the Jets. I just don't know how much I trust their ability to actually come through with it. I think
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn has proved that he is a really good coach, or at least had a really good start to his head coaching career. I don't necessarily want to say he's this great NFL head coach now.
One game. Calm down.
One game, yeah,
But it's with the Jets, and he made them look decent,
yeah.
which is saying a lot. No,
Um,
I do think that kind of like with the Cowboys, the Jets this should be kind of a moral victory for the Jets. They looked like an NFL team. They looked capable, and I think, like you said, they did find a formula here that it's play good defense, which their secondary is rough, but their D line is pretty solid. I think Quinnen Williams had 2 sacks. I think Will McDonald had 2 sacks. I think Quincy Williams had a sack. Like they're getting some pressure to the quarterback. They just need some help in that secondary. But I think on offense they found a good recipe where it's run the RPO, run the ball, get it to Garrett Wilson. Like as much as I think they need another receiver in there to have a chance, I think they found a way to be somewhat successful this year. And then going into next year, you go grab a receiver in the draft, or you pick up a free agent. You pick up a corner or two in the draft and free agency, and now you start to resemble a decent looking team. Now, I don't think Justin Fields is going to quarterback a team that wins. So there's also that.
yeah, and I want to talk about the Steelers side of this too because we talked about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers looked really good.
Four TDs, baby.
Yeah, 4 TDs. Even from the eye test, he was doing a lot of things that he did when he was in Green Bay. He was making a lot of on the fly adjustments. He made a lot of off balance throws that looked like vintage Aaron
Yep.
Rodgers. Um, I sent you the meme today of the three little dragons where the two like intimidating ones like Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers, looking at the derpy one that said Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Um, but
But it's true.
he's 41 years old. Like I said, he's about to turn 42. He's still capable of doing all the things that he was doing when the Packers were legitimate contenders under him. Now, he might not be necessarily as good now or as athletic now as he was then, but he still has the talent and he still knows how to lead a team down the field. If you look at everyone else on the team, they didn't really get a whole lot going in the run game. They split carries quite a bit between Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, and they combined for about 3 yards a carry. Uh, Receiving wise, DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin both had really good games, but outside of that, like Jonnu Smith had 5 catches and a touchdown, but he only had 15 yards with it. Not a whole lot of yardage going around anywhere. Um, this is a team that I said was going to make the playoffs, and I think they can. And I think today was a really good start to that. Um, Jalen Ramsey also kind of iced the game today with knocking the final pass of the game loose, turning what I thought was a clear catch should have been a clear catch into an incomplete pass because he just couldn't hold on to it. This is a team that's capable of winning games.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good that they let go 32 points to the Jets.
I was gonna say that's my biggest concern is you gave up 32 to the Jets on an offense that didn't look amazing. Um, and it's funny that you bring up Jalen Ramsey because that's a trade that you did not like going in this offseason. You would rather
I
have
still don't
him.
love.
I was like you'd rather have him have Minka still. Um, but I was trying to find a picture of it. But one of the touchdown passes that Rodgers threw. Um, Now, when we talk about him doing the things he did in Green Bay, he cannot run like he used to. That's just not possible. But he is mobile enough to avoid things and sidestep, and get a little bit of movement. So that was a positive. But one of the touchdowns he threw, he moved out to the right and he threw off of kind of a fadeaway off his back right foot, a dot into the end zone for a touchdown.
Is it the
So there
one
were,
that he basically was in the air, like neither one of his feet were on the
yeah,
ground?
yeah. Um, but there were some really good signs for Steeler fans to see that, hey, Aaron's still got a little something in the tank because I think a lot of us didn't think that it was going to be pretty. And he's looking like he's capable right now. Now, we'll see how that holds up against other teams. We'll see how it holds up a couple weeks into the season if he starts getting hit more. Um, but for today, I mean, when was the last time he threw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions? It's been a minute. Um, but he looks solid.
I actually want to say he might have done that his last game with the Jets.
No way.
He had a really good last game. He did something back to back. I think it might have been 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, back to back games for different teams. I think he's the first person ever to do that. I don't know
Yeah.
how many he threw his last game with the Jets, but
I don't know, but if Pittsburgh wants to be successful, they have to figure out some resemblance of a running game because what they did today is going to get Aaron killed during the season because they're just going to tuck their ears and come after the quarterback because you cannot have what 56 total rushing yards from your no 54 because Caleb Johnson had -2 rushes. You can't have 50 yards rushing in a game and expect to win consistently. You have to figure something out, whether that's getting them the ball and them being better, or if that's going out and finding a new running back because you can't do what you did today consistently and expect to win as the Steelers team because your bread and butter is run the ball and play defense. That is a Mike Tomlin team, and that was not what we got today.
I'm kind of surprised that Caleb Johnson didn't get a little bit more.
1 carry.
He had 1 carry for -2 yards, but they gave Kenneth Gainwell 7 carries for 19 yards, who I keep forgetting is on the Steelers.
Yeah, that
So
just feels weird.
we'll see what this means down the line for both of these teams. Like I said, I thought the Steelers were a a playoff team from our predictions. The Jets, I thought were going to end up coming in last place in the AFC East, but I wasn't as convinced as you, and I probably should have stuck with my gut considering how bad the Dolphins look.
Oh my gosh, we got to make fun of them real quick. We're not going to talk about this game, but Tua looks like the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and they made Daniel Jones look like the best.
They made Daniel Jones look more than competent. How do you get beat that bad by the Colts and Daniel Jones? That's all I've got to say about this situation.
I'm telling you, it's their defense and their secondary, and they
Well,
didn't
we joked about how Storm Duck was their second corner last week, and Storm Duck was hurt and didn't play.
You also joked about how they should just get tryouts going for anyone that may be capable of playing corner. And they already did that because Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas were signed off the street.
Well, they may need to do it again.
Get Kendall,
Okay,
Kendall Fuller.
this
There we go.
this okay. You gave up 33 to Daniel Jones and the Colts. Not good. You scored what? 6 points? What was the final score? They get
33
six.
to 8.
They got 8 points against the Colts defense. Tua looked horrendous.
I'm done talking
You're
about
going to be picking second in this draft, and you better go get a quarterback. That's all. I'm done with them.
it. Yeah, I'm done talking about this game. Let's move on to the Bucks and the Falcons.
Ah, good game.
So this is a game that I didn't pay all that close attention to because I am bored by the NFC South. That is the best way.
Stop, because
I
this
can-
Falcons team is fun, and the Bucks are solid overall.
I don't know what it is, but ever since I was a kid, the NFC South was just I couldn't get behind it. Even when Drew Brees was playing for the Saints and they
You're
were
wrong.
winning the Super Bowl, like I just couldn't.
Shout out to Jake, and he hates you right now as a Drew Brees lover.
Yeah, well, the most exciting thing I've ever seen from the NFC South was 28-3.
Was
Uh,
what?
28-3 when the Patriots
No,
came
shut
back
your
against the
mouth.
Falcons.
The best thing you saw out of there was Michael Vick be the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons.
You're gonna hate me. I was too young.
Oh gosh, stop.
What did he?
Did you see at least his comeback when he played with Philly and
I
looked
did see. I did
legit
see
for
that.
like half a season?
I did see that, but I think he got
That was some,
arrested. I think he got
yeah,
arrested in
that was vintage.
2007.
Well, then you at least got to see kind of vintage Michael Vick, but not even full on as amazing Michael Vick. That was exciting.
Yeah, but this was a fun game.
Dirty
I mean,
Birds, come on.
the Bucks end up winning this game 23-20, and a big reason why is because of a breakout NFL debut from Emeka Ibuka. He had 4 catches for 67 yards throughout this game, but he scored 2 touchdowns, including a game winner at the very end of the game. Uh, we've, or not the very end of the game, but towards the end of the game. Did he
I
not?
was gonna say they kicked a field goal to win it.
He scored a touchdown at the end of the game, didn't he? Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't pay that close attention to this.
Maybe you did. I didn't get to see the very end of it. The last thing I saw was Michael Penix's awesome touchdown on
It
4th and 5.
it must have been the third quarter because I'm looking at uh, the scoreboard basically, and it said they scored 7 in the third and they scored 6 in the fourth. So
Okay.
I guess it was in the third quarter, but I thought it was towards the end of the game. That might be on me, but I wasn't expecting to talk about the NFC.
No, he did score one in the fourth, it looks like.
You did? Okay. I thought it was at the very like towards the very end of the game, and the Falcons end up going on their drive.
Like a
And
minute left, it looks like. Man, I missed it.
see, you didn't even watch the game either.
Listen, I had to take the kids to go get candy from Dollar General because I promised it to them. And I missed the end of it.
Um, but yeah, Emeka Buka, 4 catches for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans had 5 for 51, but Baker Mayfield didn't really have a game that will, again, will impress you when you look at the numbers.
No, but he keeps doing enough you need to win. I don't care what his stats look like. Did he win? Yes. Did he throw 3 touchdowns? Yes. Did he have any turnovers? No. Like he just does what it takes to win.
Yeah, and we talked about this. The Bucks are a team that just because of their crazy potential on offense with their weapons that they have, this is going to be a team that's competing. It's going to be these two teams competing in the NFC South this year. Um, I'm I have to point out that just because he's on my fantasy team for this is his last week on my fantasy team. Kate Otten not getting a catch. What are we doing? You're cut. I'm done with you. That's my little rant on Kate Otten. Um, but yeah, they didn't do a whole lot in the running game. Bucky Irving only had 37 yards. Baker Mayfield was actually their leading rusher in this game. He had 39 yards on 5 carries. Bucky
Did
Irving
you notice
37 on 14.
on top of the low scoring this week, there was very low rushing yards this week, outside of like one person.
Yeah, I know because I have Chase Brown on my fantasy team, and I have who else? Someone else sucked on my Isaiah Pacheco. That's it.
Pretty
Uh,
much everyone.
yeah,
Now, even looking at this game, if you just look at his rushing stats, don't look at what he did in the receiving game. Bijan Robinson had 12 carries for 24 yards.
yeah, and I actually
I couldn't have guessed that
the first thing I noticed about him was his receiving numbers, and it made me think for a second it was his rushing numbers.
because he hit triple digit receiving.
Yeah, 6 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. Uh,
Look at how much Penix threw the ball. Bijan 6 reception. Pitts said I would never do it again. I didn't, but Pitts 7 receptions. Drake London 8. Ray 3. Casey Washington 3.
I
Like,
feel like this. Just a little side note. I feel like this is a trap week. Like Kyle Pitts having a great game, Quentin Johnston having a great game.
it
We're gonna
is.
talk about Keon Coleman. I mean,
Keon Coleman's legit. I don't care what you say.
we've said that before.
He's only been in the league 2 years.
We said that about Kyle Pitts and Quentin Johnston before.
Okay,
Anyway,
those two.
um,
Keon Coleman's good.
yeah, he threw the ball a bunch. He had a pretty good game.
He had an awesome
Another,
touchdown to keep them in it and to put them up, but there was too much time left on the clock.
yeah, and then towards the end of the game, I'm gonna use his government name, Young Wei Koo.
No, boo! The young ho.
He ended up missing his kick towards the end of the game. Uh,
44
that
seconds.
was
I don't know. What's it?
that was
How much time? I mean, it was a 60-yarder,
it
so it's
was
not like it was a gimme. Um, but we've seen this from the young ho. He didn't have a great year last year. He missed quite a few kicks. It's a far cry from what he was a couple years ago when he burst into the league and looked awesome and had the most amazing name ever. So it doesn't shock me. Not like Mr. Boswell out there in Pittsburgh getting it done with a 60-yarder to win the game. He
longest of his
couldn't.
career, I believe.
Good for him. He's on my fantasy team, so I was happy. But yeah, I mean, you make that, we're talking potentially overtime because you're under a minute left in that game. Sucks, but this is kind of what I saw for this division was it was going to be a close battle between these two. Um, and honestly, I thought this first one was going to be Bucks controlling it a little bit more as Penix was still getting his feet wet. And then I thought it would be a good second game between them. But, if you get a game like this right off the bat and you give him a little experience, I think it's going to be fun going the rest of the season to see what Michael Penix Jr. can do with a little bit of with a little more experience under his belt. I mean, he threw the ball a lot, 42 times, and he targeted Drake London 15. So if you're a Drake London fantasy owner, you gotta love to see that. But even Kyle Pitts had 8 targets, and Bijan was 7. So it looks like they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, and I think they need to tone that back a little bit and give the ball to Bijan more because 12 carries isn't enough. Even if he's not effective, you got to give someone that talented the ball.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this matchup, kind of like you said, I think this matchup was a pretty good encapsulation of what we can expect from the NFC South. It's going to be a tight race between these two teams specifically. I don't love that this is the game the Falcons lost because it's a game that they played at home. If it's a close matchup like this, you tend to prefer winning the game at home if you're going to win one because it's a lot
Really?
harder. It's a lot
You,
harder to
you
win.
want to win home games? What?
Well, it's a lot harder to win on the road. So when you start out with a home loss against the team that you know you're going to be competing for in the division, competing against in the division, it's rough. But you know, I don't know. I can't even get passionate about talking about this division.
You're such a bum.
I
All right, move on. Move
my
on.
prime football watching was during the Cam Newton era, and I
Gross.
didn't even like Cam Newton.
I don't. I watched him do a pregame on a show, and I couldn't hear what he was saying because I couldn't get over the stupid outfit he was wearing.
I also think it doesn't help. The next game we're talking about is my team.
All right, let's do it.
This is the first game that wasn't really close that we're talking about, but we have to talk about it because it's a potential playoff matchup in the best division in football right now. The Packers and the Lions. I was thinking this was going to be a very high scoring game, and I thought the Lions were going to end up winning it. I had put in my prediction I had a 38-27 win for the Lions.
Ouch.
That was not what happened. The Packers kind of controlled the game from the very beginning. Jordan Love looked really good on the first drive, and Josh Jacobs didn't. If we're continuing with the whole not being able to run the football vibe of this week, he didn't look good, but Jordan Love, I think, went 6 of 8 for 65 yards and a touchdown just on the first drive. Uh, and from that, it was kind of all Packers. Packers ended up winning this game 27-13. Uh, they kind of could do whatever they wanted on offense, and they could also kind of do whatever they wanted on defense. Um, Jordan Love, again, not a game that's going to blow you away when you look at the stats, but he definitely passed the eye test in this game. And a lot of this was because the game was kind of over really quickly. 16 of 22 for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs ended up getting a rushing touchdown, but he only had 3.5 yards per carry. Romeo Doubs had a big catch that made him the leading receiver in terms of yards. Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft both had touchdowns. And on defense, Micah Parsons made his debut, and he didn't play every snap necessarily, but he did exactly what you expect Micah Parsons to do. He lined up outside, he lined up inside, he lined up basically everywhere, and that kind of looked like it put a little bit of fear in the Lions. He ended up getting a sack. He got another pressure. He is as advertised throughout the first game, even though he didn't play the whole game.
Yeah, my takeaways from this game, the Lions just looked flat. They didn't look good from the jump. The Packers kind of took advantage of that right away. And then they were kind of in a hole and couldn't get out of it. And if you look at, like, if you didn't watch this game and you just look at the stats, like, you see Jared Goff went 31 of 39, you're like, okay, he had a pretty good game. Um, but man, the there was no, like, everything was dink and dump. Like, Jameer Gibbs literally set the record for least amount of yards receiving with 10 catches, and it was 31 yards. Like, that is insane. Um, and they didn't run the ball well. They had 20 attempts between Gibbs and Montgomery and under 45 yards. Like, the Packers D line did a good job of holding them. Um, and it really was just short passes is all that they could get going this game. So I don't know what they need to do. Um, Targeting Amon-Ra more would be better because you can't just give him 4 catches. You need to get the ball going his way more. Jamison Williams only had 4 catches. Um, and outside of Jameer with his 10, it was leading receiver was Sam Laporta with 6. Um, Isaac Tesla only had 1 catch, but it was an insane OBJ like reception in the end zone, just reaching back and taking one to get his first catch, which was also his first touchdown, which was sweet. So, maybe get him the ball a little bit as well. But I don't know. I don't know what needs to change other than them getting Ben Johnson back to start calling plays for him. But they've got to do something different on offense because it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, I think Isaac Tesla needs to take a lot more of the snaps away from Khalif Raymond. I think that's a pretty nasty receiving trio
Yeah,
with
and they just paid
Amon,
Jameson too.
yeah, Amon-Ra, Jamison Williams, and now you're adding Isaac Tesla to that, who as was a really good player in college, uh, and along with Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery and Sam Laporta, and it just let. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when it comes to the Lions. Is they just played extremely flat. There was one ball that Jared Goff tried to get to Amon Ra, and he just stared him down the whole time, and Evan Williams just absolutely read him like a book and was able to pick it off. Uh, and that was a drive that they were in Packers territory. They were supposed to get points on that and end up turning the ball over. So I think the Lions are going to be fine. I am still not necessarily wavering yet on my prediction of the Lions getting a bye and the Packers. I still think might be the third best team in this division. It it looks good that a DB that isn't Xavier McKinney ended up getting an interception. I still don't like our corners. We didn't even have Nate Hobbs playing in this game, which the fact that we were playing shorthanded on top of how bad our corners are, it's a good sign. I still don't trust Keyshawn Nixon as a corner. I think you have the guy get two All Pros as a return man. He should probably just be the return man, and maybe not let all of our best corners go. That's just my opinion on things, but I don't get paid to make these decisions.
Hey Kyle, how many fingers am I holding up?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Second best team in that division, and a lot of people, Deontay, you psychopath. It doesn't mean they're the best team just because they beat the Lions today. The biggest thing with the Lions that people have issues with going into this season is you have a new OC and DC. In game one with a new OC and DC, like I figured we would see some growing pains. But this is the exact same team basically as last year, and they're that good. They'll figure out the play calling as the season goes on. They'll be fine.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I'll give the Packers defense is Jeff Hafley is a great defensive coordinator. Like, this is his second year with the team now. He did a really good job with this team last year. And I'm excited to see what he ends up doing with it. I have never said the Packers are a bad team. I think they need help with their secondary. And maybe Jeff Hafley's skill as a coach might be what they need. Because I said the AFC West and the NFC North are the two best teams in football. And I had the Chargers and the Packers both as the 7 seeds. If the Chargers and the Packers are playing each other in the Super Bowl, like, I'm not expecting it, but would I be absolutely floored if that's the Super Bowl matchup? Not necessarily. But I just think there are other teams in these divisions that are better than them. And, a lot of people like to take a whole lot out of week one. We've played one game. There's still 16 more on the schedule. And week one isn't even over yet. So we'll see what happens. We still have the 2 other NFC North teams to play that we'll talk about fairly soon. But first, we are talking about
this insane game.
Yeah, we're talking about the game of the week, possibly the game of the season. Is that crazy to say?
I think it is.
Going into this, sorry,
Don't die.
I can't until we talk about this game.
You're just too excited.
I know. Going into the fourth quarter, I thought the Ravens, and even before that, I thought the Ravens had this game on lock.
They dominated.
And earlier we talked about how CeeDee Lamb
34-19 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and earlier we talked about how CeeDee Lamb, despite having 7 catches for 110 yards in the Cowboys and Eagles game, CeeDee Lamb is one of the big reasons why the Cowboys lost that game. Derrick Henry
169
for the first 55 minutes of this game did whatever he wanted.
Single-handedly beat the Bills.
Yeah, he finished this game with 18 carries for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 123 yards at halftime. And Reggie, our weird Rams fan friend, he was getting ready to talk about Derrick Henry breaking records. Then
At one point, though, he finished with 169 on 18 carries. At one point, he was 14 carries for 175. Let's put that in perspective.
really, really good day for Derrick Henry for the first 55 minutes.
And then he fumbled.
Yeah, the Bills end up scoring a touchdown to make it a one possession game. And
Which also, we got to talk about this stupid play calling. Why were you going for 2 points to get this game in like the second quarter to be a 6-point game instead of kicking your extra point, making it a 7? And then you have to go for a next 2-point conversion to get it back to 7, and you miss it. And then, oh, wait, we need to make another 2-point conversion, and you miss that too.
So I don't think it's a good move, but I see why they did it. And it was only because
In the second quarter,
it was only because of the Ravens penalty on that
I don't care.
that extra point. That when you have it from going from the 2-yard line to the 1-yard line, the analytics say it's a good idea to go for 2.
And how did that work out for you?
It worked out horribly, but that's the reasoning behind it. Also, I will say they didn't even make it a one possession game at that point. They made it a 2-possession game after the fumble because they scored. They made it 31-40, I believe, or 40-31, I believe. And then Derrick Henry fumbled. They end up taking it back for a touchdown, they end up going on another drive, scoring a touchdown to make it 40-38
With a minute 59 left.
Yeah, and I still thought the Ravens had this game won.
You needed one first down.
Yeah, 1 first down, and Derrick Henry was still losing his mind throughout the whole game. And there were some questionable calls there. Derrick Henry ends up going on, I believe, a 2 or 3 yard run, I want to say, on first down. And then on second down, they have, was it an end around to Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers, who just laid down.
Yeah, and I see why you did that. You don't want to go out of bounds. You want to make them use their timeouts. You don't want to fumble again, because Derrick Henry gets a lot of grace for this. I can guarantee it. Zay Flowers would not get that same grace.
No, he's already cost them potentially a Super Bowl.
I mean, not as bad as Mark.
Thank you as a Chiefs fan.
Not as bad as Mark Andrews did. But yeah, then they end up
running it straight up.
They throw a ball over the middle to DeAndre Hopkins on third down. Doesn't get the first down. Have to punt. And they end up getting...
And Josh Allen.
Yeah, it wasn't a Hail Mary, but someone was praying in that stadium today on that throw to Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer ends up streaking down.
He was wide open.
He was wide open and ends up getting, by the time he gets tackled, they're in field goal range. So they can just knee the ball a couple times and do a fire drill field goal. Not as bad as the Chiefs was.
Chiefs had 9 seconds. He had 32. That's not a fire drill.
Did you see how old Matt Prater is?
He looked like a druggie in his 50s. At least. He looked rough. He owed someone some money, and they took life from him.
Someone watching that game with us thought he was a coach, and I had to tell him, nope.
He's 41.
That's one of the best kickers in the NFL right there. One of the best kickers of my childhood. Had the NFL record for longest field goal for 10 years. That was 41-year-old Matt Prater.
He looked rough.
His version of a fire drill field goal with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, we were trying to get him to stop jogging on the field. We didn't want him to tear something on the way out there.
Yeah, they end up kicking the field goal with no time on the clock. And
the most improbable comeback.
Yeah, they scored
Listen,
22 points in the fourth quarter. They
here's the
scored
thing.
41 points in this game, and they scored 22 points in the fourth quarter. I believe they scored them all in the last
Like
5
five
minutes.
minutes. Yeah, it was crazy. Here's the other thing. I don't know what happened to the Ravens because that defense was completely containing that Bills offense for 55 minutes. And that Ravens offense didn't look like it could be stopped for the first three quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, they forgot how to play football, I think. They stopped running the well, they didn't stop running the ball, fumbled, but they stopped making plays. Lamar stopped running around, scrambling 30 yards backwards and then getting a first down out of nowhere. Um, he stopped making accurate passes, which, Lamar does that sometimes. Um, and their defense fell apart and just was soft and let Josh Palmer be wide open. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, if you're looking at the numbers real quick, Lamar Jackson, 200 yards to the air and 2 touchdowns. He also had 70 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Like I said, Derrick Henry finished 18 for 169 and 2 touchdowns. The rest of their team
Was
rushing,
bad.
it combined for 5 carries for -1 yard. Now, I will say, I don't know what I missed. How did Justice Hill end up
Two for
with
negative
two
14.
carries for -14 yards? What did I miss?
He kind of ran backwards a little bit, got stuffed, and tried to bounce it outside, I believe,
Did he
and
do that
got taken
twice?
down. Yeah,
Cut him.
I mean, he also had another stupid play too, I believe. What did he do?
I think it was on a return or something. I don't
There
know.
was something that he did was really dumb that I was like, well, he's not playing anymore.
If you're looking at the receiving, don't unless it's Zay Flowers. He had 7 for 143 and a touchdown. No one else did anything except DeAndre Hopkins getting a vintage DeAndre Hopkins touchdown.
Nasty. Just, I'm
One
gonna stick my hand out here, catch the
his
ball, and
big
run like this
freaking
with two defenders on my back.
catcher's mitt of a hand.
His hand has got to be massive, like, and it
Oh, it
stick
is.
unbelievable.
Whenever the Hail Mary that Kyler Murray threw to him a couple years ago, that was his hand size was like
It's
the
like this is my hand and this is his hand. Like it's just boop. He
yeah.
just stuck his hand out there. I don't know how many wide receivers make that catch because he just stuck his hand out, held on to it, like nub of the ball on his fingertips with two guys on his back into the end zone.
Um
It was
on the
great.
on the Bills side of things, Josh Allen was Josh Allen. 33 of 46 for 394 and 2 touchdowns. He
He
also
also
had
ran for two.
14 carries for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. James
They were
Cook,
both like 1 yarders.
yeah, James
Shock.
Cook couldn't get anything going on the ground.
If they would just give him the ball a little bit more, I would love them. Also, he had an awesome 51-yard catch and got stopped on the 1 yard line, and then they didn't hand him the ball to get his touchdown. I was not happy. As a resident James Cook owner in multiple leagues, give him the ball.
And then Khalil. So there were a couple pretty good receiving performances. Khalil Shakir 6 for 64, Josh Palmer 5 for 61, James Cook 5 for 58, Dalton Kincaid 4 for 48 and a touchdown. The week that I decided to start Cade Otton instead of him, because that always happens. Like I said, I'm fixing that by cutting Cade Otton. I need to go to therapy with all my fantasy football trauma.
And
But
then the best receiver, who Kyle does not like and think can catch the ball, give the second year man a chance. He's going to be good.
I've
Throw it
seen it
up.
too much. But
Throw it up.
Keon Coleman had a great game today. 8 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Didn't appear to be struggling with any sort of drop issues.
No, we did not.
As I've said, we've seen this before with other people. I
He's
will
not other
believe
people.
I will believe it when I see it.
Don't put Quentin Johnson evil on Keon Coleman.
What about Kyle Pitts evil? Can I do that?
The different position.
Say
Kyle Pitts evil isn't that he doesn't catch the ball; it's that he doesn't have anyone to throw him the ball. And I'm hoping that changes because Michael Penix Jr. can throw the ball. He's still a unicorn.
we'll see. This was about as good of a win for the Bills as you can have.
This is how crazy this game was, to put it in perspective if anyone didn't watch it. Me and Kyle looked at each other at one point at our friend's house in like the first few minutes of the fourth quarter and said, "Do you want to leave now so we can go record so we're not recording past midnight again?" And we were both about to leave, and then the Bills
by the way,
shut us all up and
Yeah.
went on an epic run that we did not think was possible.
Yeah, they got Cody jumping up and down on his torn ACL.
Don't say that. Don't put that evil on me. I don't know what it is, but I don't want the ACL to be torn. Just everything else.
Everything else.
I know what ACL recovery is. I did it with many of people as an athletic trainer. I'm not trying to do it myself. But yes, I was jumping up and down in excitement because I am the resident Lamar hater, and I don't like the Ravens. And I will be the first person to say that that is the ugliest man I've ever seen in my life. And it's terrifying to look at, and I think he's overrated. Great runner, good arm, not accurate, has two daddies in the playoffs, and doesn't win. So
I will let
I
you.
don't like it. So I absolutely love the Bills coming back and just ruining this.
I will let you make, even though I still probably don't fully agree with it. I'm sure there's uglier. I will
Darius Tony's out of the league.
let you make the ugliest player in the league comments because Kadarius Toney is out of the league.
That's fair. That dude's terrifying also.
So before we
All right,
go,
let's
Before
talk
we go-
about tomorrow.
yeah, we have
I
a
guess
game.
tonight if you're watching this.
Yeah, it will be tonight's game. Even recording this, like I said, it's currently 12:30 in the morning.
It's tonight's
We're
game.
recording this. Tonight's game is between the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears.
Third and fourth place in the division.
Two teams that have had a lot of arguments, I'll just go ahead and say, between the two of us on how the NFC North is going to look. And it doesn't help that both of these teams are playing shorthanded. The wide receiver room for the Vikings is going to be missing Jordan Addison. Justin Jefferson is playing, and he appears to be healthy, but you
He's
never
always got a
know
hurt hamstring.
with that recurring hamstring injury. So much so that they brought back Adam Thielen, who has to be at least 45 years old at this point.
No, he doesn't. But I do like Adam Thielen.
I think he's like 35. How old is Adam Thielen?
35.
He's 35.
Listen,
45.
he's like 14, 15 months older than me. You shut your mouth.
You're not a professional athlete.
Thank goodness. My body hurts not being a professional athlete.
Your body hurts watching football.
It hurt me today watching football.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Bears are playing shorthanded in terms of their running backs. They have DeAndre Swift playing.
That's all they need.
What's that?
So that's all they need, but I couldn't keep a straight face saying that.
Yeah, they need more.
Especially
They
because
need
Ben
help.
Johnson hates him.
I believe Roshan Johnson is out. I believe Travis Homer is out. The only other real usable running back I believe that's playing in this game besides DeAndre Swift is 7th round rookie Kyle Monangai. So they are kind
I'm
of
okay
gonna,
with that.
huh?
I'm okay with that.
I am too, because he is one
I
of
think he
my
needs to get some carries.
he's one of my dynasty bench.
Of course he is. No, I like Kyle Monangai. I think giving the rookie some carries is going to be good. Roshan Johnson is questionable. They haven't announced, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I just think they've got a lot of other weapons on offense. Now, it all comes down to my favorite questionable quarterback. Um, if he can actually be a decent quarterback or not, because he's been so inconsistent so far in his career, and he's shown flashes of being good, and then he's shown a lot of stupid decision making, and slow processing and just dumb decisions. But he has too many weapons to be doing that. We get to see the debut. Shout out MIZ of Luther Burden III. So I'm excited to see that as well. But I just think this Bears team is going to be better than you think they're going to be. I know you're not high on them, and I am higher on them. That does not mean I am high on them. I'm just higher on them than you, and I'm very low on the Vikings. I think that's the biggest difference between us. Um, I do worry about this Vikings offense. You didn't even bring up the biggest part of this game, and that is J.J. McCarthy making his NFL debut. I have not seen him take an NFL snap in a meaningful game yet. We have not been playing against first string players in the preseason enough to get all of his timing, his speed down of what that's going to look like in decision making. Um, he's got to go through his progressions. He's got to read the defense. He might need to audible out of some stuff. I just think that there's going to be some growing pains there, especially when you don't have Jordan Addison and you have hamstring Jetta. Um, I love TJ Hawkinson and think that is going to be his security blanket and that he needs to use him often. But I also don't necessarily like the running game for the Vikings. Um, blanking on your boy's name.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is not a spring chicken anymore. I like him as a passing, receiving back. I don't like him as your lead back, and I don't know how I feel about Jordan Mason taking more reps. He looked pretty good in San Francisco last year when given the opportunity, but I don't know how I feel about him starting to transition to take on more than he has.
So this is what, in my opinion, is the difference maker between the Bears and the Vikings. Is I understand that JJ McCarthy hasn't played an NFL snap, and I understand that even when you look at his game tape from college, like he doesn't have special arm strength, which isn't ideal, but he's very accurate. He knows how to play on time, at least from the game that he has played. And he's extremely athletic. And I think that is something that this offensive team, like this offensive coaching staff, can work with. I cannot express enough how much of a miracle it was that they fixed Sam Darnold.
That's
I
fair.
cannot express that. And
He
I
didn't look
think,
great today.
yeah, that's even more of a sign that the Vikings are miracle.
Well, their O line looked really bad too, though.
The Seahawks?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it's almost like I told you that, but
I know, right?
um,
I still like Gray Zabel.
but I do too. But yeah, I think this coaching staff knows what they're doing, or else they wouldn't put this much faith in JJ McCarthy when Aaron Rodgers was out there. When they had Daniel Jones on their
They
team
didn't want
last
to do
year.
that again.
What? Oh, the whole
They,
Brett Favre
they didn't want to deal
saga.
with Rodgers again. No, no.
That being even still, they had Aaron Rodgers out there. They had Daniel Jones on the team last year, and they chose not to bring him back. Even when there were a lot of Vikings fans that for some reason wanted Daniel Jones back
Did you not see what he did today?
against the Dolphins. Let's come on. Uh, there were people that were asking to bring Sam Darnold back, and they didn't do that.
He was good.
They believe in JJ McCarthy. And when Justin Jefferson is healthy, he is still a top 2 receiver in the NFL. Jordan Addison is not going to help them this game, but he is only out for 3 out of 17 games. And I like Adam Thielen as a third receiver on this team. It's a very young offensive core outside of Aaron Jones. And I think having him and Adam Thielen there is something that is going to be very beneficial for the development of this team. In terms of the running game, Aaron Jones is getting older, but he was still very productive last year. Jordan Mason looked really good when Christian McCaffrey was out for ever last year. I think their running game is going to be fine. I don't know if this is the game that I will say is going to show what the Vikings are going to look like throughout the year, because this is JJ McCarthy's first NFL game. It may look a little rough. That is normal. But I still think this is a better team than what the Bears have. And I don't think the Bears, I'm going to keep saying this, I don't think the Bears are a bad team. I just think this is a fourth place team when you're looking at the best division in the NFL. I think this, even if they win what I think they are capable of and winning 7 games in playing in the NFC North, I think in any other division outside of maybe the AFC West, you're looking at a 10-win team that's fighting for a playoff spot. I just think they're going to go 1-5, maybe even 0-6 in the North. And I do, if I have to pick for tomorrow, I do lean towards the Vikings winning.
Picking the Bears.
But even if the Bears win, I still feel very confident that the Vikings are going to finish at least above the Bears, if not above the Packers as well.
Yeah, I still have more question marks about this Vikings defense and their O-line. And I think the Bears have done a good job of building in the trenches, which is something that they've never done before. And I think they did a good job of filling some of those holes that they had to be a solid all-around team. And then you get Ben Johnson coming in to be your head coach and to be a play caller. You've seen what he did with Jared Goff and Detroit for all these years. You hope that some of that can transition to Caleb Williams. Now, I don't know that it will, because I've already seen he has some issues with Caleb Williams and his desire to be a good quarterback and not just a prima donna quarterback and fashion shows and doing his nails. Like, I don't know that Caleb Williams has the will to win, and I think Ben Johnson might strangle him before this is all said and done if he doesn't figure it out.
I'm sorry.
He looks like he's already aged like a decade from being frustrated.
Who did you say that was that you were talking about?
Ben Johnson.
No, who was the quarterback that you were talking about?
LGBTQB1? I can't say it.
LGBTQB1?
That one. Caleb Williams.
Real quick, looking at the injury report going in the game in terms of players that matter, Harrison Smith is doubtful right now. He was a limited participant in practice because of an injury or because of an illness. Christian Darrisaw, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Jalen Naylor are all questionable, but they all seem like they're going to play. They were full participants in their most recent practice.
They'll play.
They all seem like they're going to play. This is just the Vikings. Where is the Bears? Sorry about that. I thought this was both, but I guess it was from Vikings Wire. So looks like for the Bears, TJ Edwards is doubtful. One of their linebackers. So they are probably going to rely on rookie linebacker Ruben Hippolyte, as well as Noah Sewell. And then Jalen Johnson, Josh Blackwell, and Roshan Johnson are all questionable.
So is Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, Kyler Gordon was a recent addition to that. It says,
So really, you're missing T.J. Edwards and Harrison Smith are really the two we got to really think of as out.
Roshan Johnson, it says he will most likely miss this game, but he should be good to go week 2. So Kyle
Okay.
Monangai, they are going to lean quite a bit on Kyle Monangai.
Good.
So I think we've covered all our bases. Do you have anything to add before we head out of here?
I think, like we said when we came on, this was a really exciting week 1. Even with the low scoring games, there were a lot of fun games to watch that went down to the wire. Even some that honestly probably don't matter in the scheme of things, like Cardinal Saints. I think we have them finishing last in both of their divisions. Like, it was a fun game to watch, and if their receiver could hold on to a ball, we probably would have gotten overtime. Um, I think there's some teams that week 1 should put them on high alert. The Bengals not being able to protect Joe Burrow has been the talk of forever now, and they were not able to protect Joe Burrow. I thought Myles Garrett killed him at one point. He ran a stunt, came up the middle, unblocked, and just smoked Burrow. Both feet off the ground. Whee! He looked like he did. So that was not good. Miami looks like they're going to give New Orleans a run for their money for that first overall pick.
They
Like
want
that.
Arch Manning,
That's bad.
although Arch Manning looks bad too right now. So
Jacksonville looked semi decent. Carolina looked bad. Vegas kind of shocked me, beating beating New England, which was not good for my take of New England being my surprise team. Washington did enough, but they didn't look amazing. Giants don't have an offense, which was really bad. Christian McCaffrey is the San Francisco 49ers, and without him, they will lose because they rely on him solely for their entire offense. And Seattle O-line couldn't protect him. I think one of the big ones, though, for me was Denver's offense looked miserable. Bo Nix looked bad. But that defense is outstanding. For as bad as he did and as many times as they were on the field, they didn't give up a touchdown, just field goals. That team is good. Same thing with Houston, and they got to find a way to protect C.J. Stroud before he dies. Like, it was brutal to watch that game.
I was actually pretty impressed at what Nick Chubb was able to do for not having an offensive line in front of him. He looked pretty good.
He's still alive. That knee is intact somehow.
Yeah. So I'm just glad that we're getting to talk about football. We
Hey,
have actual
NFL is back.
Yeah, we have actual football to talk about. Even off camera, we've been talking a lot about college football. I've been going to a lot of the Mizzou games, covering those. We've had a lot of Mizzou discussions off camera. Maybe at some point, hopefully, we can bring some college football onto the show. But right now we're doing.
Bo Prabula, him?
Yes, he is. Bo Prabula for the Heisman.
Easy now.
Look, if Mizzou is as good as I think they could be, he might.
Listen,
if Mizzou gets the playoff, they might.
We're in the state of Illinois, on the border of St. Louis. I moved in here from Missouri. So to see Mizzou and Illinois in the top 25 looking legit
We're
It's been a
we're
good,
dreaming
good week.
about a playoff matchup between Mizzou and Illinois right now.
It would be awesome.
But
Maybe sometime we'll do college football. But for tonight, I think we're gonna end there.
yeah, and we're still, adding stuff right now, making a whole lot of changes. I can confirm we will have a basketball episode this week.
And
Uh,
we will have a baseball
we will have
episode
a
this
baseball
week.
episode, and we will have an MMA episode. It has been rough for me over the past few weeks because I just got internet at my new house yesterday. As you can tell by my background, I'm still not fully settled in yet. So I want to thank you guys for bearing with me and bearing with us through that. And you have no clue how much your support right now means the world to us. Right now, especially, but hopefully you'll continue to support us as we're on Pat McAfee and John Boy Media level, and all those other guys with millions of subscribers.
Hey, if you guys support us doing that, I don't have to teach anymore.
That's the goal.
That's the dream.
All your kids right now just that's watching
Yeah,
their hands up like what?
here you go. The kids ask me every day, so I'll do it for them if they're willing to watch through this. 6, 7.
That we need to stop.
Mr. Whitaker out.
Okay, thank you guys for watching. We will not see you guys next episode. Next episode, you'll be hearing from Drew and Randall.
Some basketball action.
We will see you guys on Thursday. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.